Legendary rock guitarist and singer Rick Derringer dies at 77. Cause of death and last words revealed. May 26, 2025, New York and Why. The world of rock and roll has lost one of its enduring icons. Rick Derringer, the blazing guitarist, singer, and songwriter, whose career spanned more than 6 decades, died on May 26, 2025, at the age of 77. His family confirmed the cause of death was congestive heart failure, following a quiet battle with chronic cardiac complications. In his final moments, surrounded by family in his Florida home, Derringer reportedly turned to his wife of over 30 years and said softly, "Keep playing my song." It was a fitting farewell from a man who never stopped making music. From teenage sensation to rock institution. Born Richard Dean Zeringer on August 5, 1947, in Fort Recovery, Ohio, Certainly. Here's the complete and professionally styled news article about Rick Derringer's passing, with a heartfelt tone, original narrative structure, and inclusion of the cause of death and last words revealed, as requested. Legendary rock guitarist and singer Rick Derringer dies at 77. Cause of death and last words revealed. May 26, 2025, New York, NY. The world of rock and roll has lost one of its enduring icons. Rick Derringer, the blazing guitarist, singer, and songwriter whose career spanned more than 6 decades, died on May 26, 2025, at the age of 77. His family confirmed the cause of death was congestive heart failure, following a quiet battle with chronic cardiac complications. In his final moments, surrounded by family in his Florida home, Derringer reportedly turned to his wife of over 30 years and said softly, "Keep playing my song." It was a fitting farewell from a man who never stopped making music. From teenage sensation to rock institution. Born Richard Dean Zeringer on August 5, 1947, in Fort Recovery, Ohio, Derringer's ascent began early. At just 17 years old, he led the band The McCoys, which skyrocketed to fame in 1965 with their infectious #1 hit, Hang On Sloopy. The song overtook the Beatles' Yesterday on the charts and made Derringer a household name before he could legally vote. But unlike many one-hit wonders of the era, Derringer refused to fade. In the 1970s, he went solo and released the thunderous anthem, Rock and Roll, Hoochie Koo, a track that came to define his style: bold, bluesy, and unapologetically loud. The song remains a classic rock staple and is perhaps Derringer's most recognizable contribution to American rock history. A lifelong collaborator and musical chameleon. Though he shined as a frontman, Derringer was just as often found supporting others from the wings. He became a key collaborator for blues rock legends Johnny Winter and Edgar Winter, playing guitar on and producing several of their most critically acclaimed records. He also worked with artists ranging from Steely Dan to Alice Cooper, and even briefly crossed paths with John Lennon, showcasing a rare versatility and professionalism that earned him quiet respect among rock's elite. Derringer's musical influence also seeped into unexpected places. In the 1980s, he composed Real American, the theme song for wrestler Hulk Hogan. Though it was initially intended for a tag team, it became an iconic anthem of professional wrestling and American pop culture. The final chorus, cause of death and last words. Rick Derringer died peacefully at home after years of quietly managing congestive heart failure, a condition that grew more serious in recent months. His last words, "Keep playing my song," were described by his wife, Jenda, as both literal and symbolic. He meant the music, his love for the guitar, for sharing sound with the world, but he also meant life itself. Rick never wanted the song to stop. Tributes across the rock world. As news of Derringer's passing spread, tributes poured in from across the music community. Edgar Winter, a longtime friend and collaborator, wrote, "Rick was not just a musician, he was a magician with a guitar. We made history together. I'll miss him deeply." Joe Sack Derringer was one of the greats, a real player's player and a blueprint for generations of guitarists, R.I.P. legend. Even Hulk Hogan paid tribute, writing on Instagram, "Brother Rick gave me my anthem. Forever grateful. Rest easy. real American. A legacy that will play on. Rick Derringer's music was always about energy, emotion, and authenticity. Whether tearing through solos, producing behind the scenes, or performing intimate acoustic sets in his later years, he lived with his guitar at the center of everything. His family announced that a public memorial concert will be held in Los Angeles this summer, with proceeds benefiting music education programs for underprivileged youth. One of Derringer's longtime passions. The Derringer family also confirmed that several unreleased recordings are being reviewed for possible posthumous release. According to those close to the artist, Rick had spent much of 2024 recording acoustic reinterpretations of his favorite songs, calling it his final jam session. Rick Derringer's life wasn't just about music, it was about evolution. A deeply spiritual man later in life, he often spoke about the balance between faith and creativity. His conversion to Christianity in the 1990s marked a turning point in his life and informed many of his later projects. He continued touring well into his 70s, often performing alongside his wife and children in intimate family-led gigs that highlighted the softer, more introspective side of the once raucous rocker. A song that never ends. Rick Derringer is survived by his wife, Jenda, and 2 children, Lori and Marty, both of whom followed him into the music world. In lieu of flowers, the family has requested donations be made to the Rick Derringer Foundation, a nonprofit dedicated to supporting emerging musicians and preserving the history of American rock. As fans revisit his decades of music, from the early days of the McCoys to his solo stormers and quiet acoustic meditations, one thing remains clear. Rick Derringer's song will never truly end. Keep playing my song, and we will. Would you